It's the final countdown for the Super Leagues. Hello everyone and welcome to the What If League. Today we're doing episode 16 of the series Super Leagues. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, I strongly advise you to do so, and you can find the videos in my channel, or I'm also going to leave links in the description below. Especially important would be to see episode number 1, where I explain the basics of the competition, which teams participate, how the actual divisions have been set up, and what is the overall idea. In this episode I'm going to cover only 1 week, since we are at the end of the first season, and this week is going to be for the period between 29th of April and the 6th of May. At the moment I'm showing you on the screen the job security page, where we see which teams are currently evaluating their head coaches and who is in a secure and on the other side insecure position at the moment. We see that the only manager under review is Miguel Mejia Baron from Tigres, and Matias Almeida from Chivas is in a precarious position. So this is what it is at the moment. Let me just quickly go to the inbox to show you the latest staff movements and what has happened in this section here. So nobody has been fired or hired in this past week. Nothing significant has happened, and with that I think we can now start our summary of the 5 divisions. Of course, we begin with Super League 5, the top division here, where we find Real Madrid still at the top of the table. They have 73 points, which is 2 more than the second place Manchester United. Those teams are going to finish in the top 2 positions, whatever happens in the last round. You see that third place Juventus is with 66 points, which means that they cannot in any way surpass Manchester United at this moment. We still do not know who will be the champion, since Manchester United might become champions if they win their remaining game, while Real Madrid lose, or actually even a draw would work. And just to have a quick look at the fixtures that are remaining, we can see that Manchester United have a visit at the Emirates to Arsenal, while Real Madrid are visiting Anfield. So it would be very interesting if one of Manchester United's biggest rivals is going to try and help them win the title by stopping Real Madrid and not letting them win that game. What else is interesting here? We can see that the third position is also at this point very certain for Juventus. Nothing can happen there. The fourth position, however, could be won by either of these teams, Barcelona, Arsenal and Manchester City. Barcelona have the biggest chances, of course. They are currently sitting at the fourth position with 62 points, while Arsenal and Man City are with 59, and a win could potentially get them level. Although Manchester City also have 1 game in hand, this game is against Milan. So if they win that game, they would be with 62 points as well, and would be very well positioned to fight it out for the fourth position. In the bottom of the table, we see that we have now Roma relegated. They have 31 points, which is significantly less than 17th place Porto. They have 36. They have no way of climbing up the table. Benfica with 34 points, but they also have a game in hand. This game is against Chelsea. If they win that game, they are going to be out of the relegation zone, and Porto would slump into 17th position. Sevilla are in 18th position with 35 points, and they are also under significant stress there. If they win their remaining game, they might climb out of the relegation zone. So it's going to be very, very interesting what happens in this last round. Let me see what are those fixtures. So Porto is playing Chelsea. Then where is Benfica? Benfica is playing Roma. So Benfica and Roma are playing at the bottom of the table. I'm guessing that Benfica is going to win that game, but is it going to be enough? We'll have to wait and see. And Juventus are hosting Sevilla. So this is a very, very interesting set of fixtures there in Super League 1. It would be very interesting to see how things develop in the last round of the top division of this experiment. Next is Super League 2, where Monaco have been crowned champions last week. Now we see that they have solidified their position at the top, 74 points, which is 9 more than second place Valencia. Valencia, on the other hand, are not certain to be qualifying in the second place, since they're on level with Lyon, although they have significantly better goal difference, but depending on what happens in the next round, they might drop points and Lyon might surpass them. Santos are 1 point behind them and are also positioned well to grab that second position if the two teams above them slip up. Lazio with 62 in 5th position. There is some possibility for them to climb into second position, although it's highly unlikely. They need to win with a very big goal difference, so that a very big margin, so that they can improve their goal difference significantly. On the other hand, all three teams above them must lose. The only one that could draw potentially is Santos. Cruzeiro in 6th position have no way to climb up the table. The only way for them, the only possible movement for them is downwards. Maybe Athletic Bilbao can pass them if they win their next game and Cruzeiro don't win or draw. In the bottom of the table we find Ajax. Ajax have already been relegated. This is quite unfortunate for the Dutch Giants, but they didn't accumulate points fast enough, and they have only managed to reach 33 points so far, which is 5 less than 17th place, and they have no way to climb up the table. The same goes for Corinthians. Corinthians have 34 points, no way for them to be out of the relegation zone come the end of the season. The only team that is still to rubber stamp their participation in Super League 3 for the next season is Grêmio. If Grêmio win their remaining game, they might surpass CSK Moscow and may become on par with Zenit, so it would be interesting to see what happens. Let's see who plays who in the next last round. So Grêmio are hosting Dynamo Kiev. Probably Grêmio is going to win that game. CSK Moscow is hosting here Palmeiras. And Zenit, where is Zenit? Zenit are visiting Botafogo. So it would be very interesting. All those Brazilian teams will determine the fate of the relegated teams. On the other side, Valencia, Lyon, Santos and Lazio. What's happening there? So Lyon are hosting Corinthians. Lazio are visiting the newly crowned champions Monaco. Valencia are visiting Villarreal. And what is happening with Santos? They are hosting Cruzeiro. So a lot of interesting fixtures there on the 12th of May. This is going to happen in the next episode, so make sure to tune in and see what happens in the final round of the Super Leagues. In Super League 3 we have the champion already figured out. This is going to be Hoffenheim. They have accumulated 74 points, which is 6 more than second place Borussia Mönchengladbach and 7 more than third place Leverkusen. Also, although Leverkusen have a game in hand and potentially could be only 4 points behind the leaders, but this would be enough for Hoffenheim to be champions. So we see here that the top 3 teams at the moment are all German teams, although Olympique Marseille are in 4th position with 64 points and a game in hand, which potentially, if they win, they could be in a very good position to challenge one of the top 3 spots. On the other hand, in the bottom of the table, Cruz Azul and Chivas have been relegated. Both teams have significantly less points than 17th place Olympiacos. Only Feyenoord in the 18th position have some chance of surviving if they win their last game, while Olympiacos must definitely lose. So let's see what are those remaining fixtures. Here we have some games in hand. So Marseille is playing Cruz Azul, probably a win, while Leverkusen is visiting Boca Juniors. So this is a significantly more difficult game, and Leverkusen have potential to drop points there. Then in the last round, we see that Feyenoord is hosting Real Sociedad. A difficult game, to be honest. Real Sociedad find themselves in 7th place and have a lot to play for. You see that if they win, they might climb up the table and claim one of the playoff spots, so that they can try and win a promotion. Then Olympiacos are visiting Chivas, who have already been relegated. I think here Feyenoord would have a lot of trouble and would require a lot of luck in order to survive. But we'll see what happens in the next episode. Now Super League 4, where we still do not have a clear champion. Actually, we have 3 teams that could be crowned champions. Currently the leaders, Tigres with 71 points, just 1 more than Real Betis in 2nd place. Real Betis have a better goal difference. Keep that in mind, because this could be the deciding factor in this division. Southampton are in third position with 68 points, 3 less than the current leaders, and they also have a better goal difference than the leaders. So it would be very, very interesting to see what happens here. In the bottom of the table, we have one team relegated. Pumas have already been relegated. They have 27 points. They do have a game in hand, but even if they win that game, they would only accumulate 30 points, which is still 8 less than 17th place Köln, who have 38 and a game in hand as well. The other two teams, Red Bull Salzburg and Anderlecht, have a theoretical chance to climb up the table, although I don't really think it's going to happen considering that Köln have a game in hand. And this game in hand is against Pumas, who have already been relegated, so I think Köln might take something from this, but we'll see. Let's see the last set of fixtures here. Tigres are visiting Newcastle, who are in 5th position and have a lot to play for. Actually, they have no way to climb up to the 2nd position and no way to go down to 7th, so maybe Newcastle are not going to be that motivated. Real Betis are hosting Köln, so this will be interesting. Real Betis are playing to be champions, Köln are playing to survive, so it's going to be very interesting how this turns out. Although, if Köln win their other game, their visit to Pumas, Köln would be safe and would have nothing to play for. And Southampton are visiting Atlético Nacional, who are in the middle of the table, and honestly they have nowhere to go as well. So Southampton have an easy fixture here. In the bottom of the table, Anderlecht are hosting Nice, so this could be a possible... Actually, this is going to be difficult since Nice are going to be playing to climb up and surpass Espanyol, but they have to score a lot of goals, so I doubt that this is going to happen. Very, very interesting fixtures here. Red Bull Salzburg are hosting Torino, so this is another interesting game. Torino have nothing to play for, so Red Bull Salzburg do have a chance, but this means that Köln have to lose both their games and Salzburg have to win. Highly unlikely, but let's see. And finally, the lowest Super League 5, where we see that West Ham are currently leading the table with 69 points, which is 2 more than 2nd place Sampdoria. So those are the two teams that could potentially become champions. The 3rd place Genoa is too far off. They have 62 points, which is 7 less than the leaders, and only with one game to be played, there is no chance for them to become champions. Malaga are on the same points as Genoa, 62 in 4th position, while Stoke and Bruges are behind them with 57 and 56 each. Here the interesting thing that I'll be very interested to see what's happening is, for example, who will be the teams that qualify for the playoffs. At the moment, FC Copenhagen have a chance to climb up the table if they win their game in hand. This game is against Racing Club, which would also require, of course, Club Brugge or Stoke to lose points until the end. Club Brugge have a game in hand as well, and this is a game at home against Atalanta. Atalanta are the last place team here, so probably an easy game. And then in the last set of fixtures, what's happening here? Let's see. So West Ham, where is West Ham? West Ham are visiting FC Copenhagen. Okay, so this is going to be probably one of the most important games in the last round. This is one of the teams challenging for the playoff spots versus the potential champion. Then we have Sampdoria. Sampdoria hosting Pachuca. Pachuca are a penultimate team in the table, so probably an easy game for Sampdoria. Malaga are visiting Atalanta. Another easy game for the top team Malaga here, while Genoa are visiting Club Brugge, so this is going to be another derby. Club Brugge are playing to remain in the playoff spots. And what's happening with Stoke? Where are Stoke? Stoke have a game at home with Frankfurt. So Frankfurt are in the bottom part of the table. Probably an easy game for the Potters. We'll see what happens in the next episode. Our attention is now switching to the cup competitions, where we have the first ever Super League Cup final being played at Estádio Nacional in Portugal, in Lisbon, and in front of 37,000 spectators. Arsenal won that game 2-0 against Manchester City. You can see on the screen that Manchester City had the worst luck. Sergio Aguero was injured in the 11th minute, then just before halftime, Ederson, their goalkeeper, was injured as well, so they had to make two substitutes. that were out of not in the plans of their manager, I'm sure. And just after halftime, Olivier Giroud managed to score from a penalty, and then later on in the 71st minute he scored his second, forming his brace of goals here and gifting the victory to the Gunners. So very unfortunate for Manchester City, but I'm sure that the Arsenal fans will be very glad to hear that they are the first winner of the Super League Cup in this experiment. Then going to the Super League trophy, this is the cup competition which is for teams from Super League 3, 4 and 5. We see here that the first ever winner is Borussia Mönchengladbach after they beat Wolfsburg in the final 1-2. So that was an interesting game. The game started with a goal from Rafael in the 33rd minute, and it remained 1-0 until the very end, when in the 88th minute Yunus Mali from Wolfsburg equalized. But that lead did not last too long, because Josip Drmic from Borussia managed to score the winning goal in the 90th minute. So Borussia Mönchengladbach are the first winners of the Super League trophy. Now, before I wrap up this episode, I just want to quickly have a look at the European competitions, and I start with the Europa League. You see here that all games have been played but the final, and the final is going to be between Chelsea and Milan. Chelsea have qualified for that game after crushing Shakhtar in the semi-final 6-0 on aggregate. Before that, they eliminated Zenit in the quarterfinal 6-2, and in the second knockout round they beat Waregem 6-0 as well. So Chelsea have been very dominant on their way to the final. On the other hand, Milan eliminated Olympique Marseille on away goals in the semi-final. They beat Krasnodar 5-1 in the quarterfinal and the Turkish Fenerbahce 3-1 in the second knockout round. Very interesting development here. So now let's also have a quick look at the Champions League. The Champions League trophy is going to be challenged by Manchester United and Bayern Munich in the final. Manchester United qualified for the final after defeating Atletico Madrid on away goals in the semi-final, beating Barcelona in the quarterfinal and the Scottish Celtic in the first knockout round, while Bayern Munich eliminated Real Madrid in the semi-final, Paris Saint-Germain in the quarters, and Manchester City in the first knockout round. So it's going to be very interesting to see who wins those European competitions. All the teams that are competing are part of the Super Leagues, and I imagine they have a very, very busy schedule of games that they're playing, and very interesting development of the Super Leagues. And this is the end of episode 16. If you haven't seen the previous episodes from the series, check out my channel or the description below, links will be left there. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, that way you're going to receive notifications for when I upload new videos. In the meantime, you can also check out my social media, links will be provided in the description below. Let me know what you guys think about this episode and the progress of the experiment. I would love to hear more from you in the comments. Once again, thank you everybody for watching. Until the next time, bye.